A man with a camera carefully scans his surroundings. Suddenly, the grass in front of him rustles. Something seems to be lurking in the water. Oh my god, it's a giant crocodile. The man is so scared he drops his camera. He thought if he stood still, the crocodile wouldn't see him. But his injured arm gives away his position. As the crocodile closes in, its massive jaws wide open, the man can only grab his camera and run for his life. The crocodile lunges after him. Although the crocodile is huge, its speed is incredible. Just as the man is about to become a meal, a large tree appears in his path. He quickly slips through an opening in the trunk. The pursuing crocodile gets stuck. Having escaped, the man gets cocky and even starts to taunt the crocodile. Then he gets up and runs again. But not long after, the crocodile breaks free. It smashes right through the thick tree trunk. The man looks back and realizes he's in deep trouble. He shouldn't have been so arrogant. But this time, he's not so lucky. Running for his life is futile. He's simply not in the same league speed-wise. In the end, he cannot escape death. And it's this very same, incredibly vicious prehistoric crocodile that has unleashed a reign of terror in Africa, devouring over 100 people in just a few years. The local villagers turn pale at the mere mention of it. It's rare for crocodiles to eat people, and for one to eat so many is unheard of. As a result, the incident had a huge impact, and news of it quickly spread around the world. An American online news company was very interested. To capitalize on the buzz and get an exclusive story, the company boss decided to send animal reporter Aisha and producer Dean to form a team and head to Africa for a follow-up report. They would also have to coordinate with crocodile expert Nick, who was already on site, to help the local residents catch the crocodile that devours people whole. Hearing this, Dean was a bit worried, because the country they were going to was in a civil war. But the boss said the civil war had stopped, and that his contact would ensure their safety. Dean reluctantly agreed. Due to the urgency, the company even arranged a private jet to fly them to their destination. Their cameraman, Hey, was also with them. The person who came to meet them was the contact the boss mentioned. He was a local government official and would assign 2 armed men to protect Dean's group for the entire trip. They then successfully met up with Nick and proceeded to the location of the incidents. Under Nick's guidance, the local residents had already begun work on catching the crocodile. They built a giant iron cage. After all preparations were complete, night fell. Tomorrow, they would officially begin the capture mission. But before that, the group met with the tribe's most revered shaman. Yay! It was said he could foresee a person's death. The shaman began to perform a ritual, chanting a few incomprehensible spells and blowing a mouthful of smoke in their faces. Finally, he cryptically said to them, Karenga, save my space. The group didn't pay much attention to the shaman's words. The next day, they began the operation as planned. The entire tribe came to the scene, which showed how much they hated that crocodile. Soon, the strong young men, carrying the iron cage, set off in a great procession towards the destination. The old and weak followed behind with supplies. The scene was quite spectacular. They crossed a vast grassland and walked until evening, finally reaching the waters where the crocodile was known to appear. They immediately began to set the trap, placing a goat inside the iron cage, along with a large barrel of mysterious liquid meant to attract the crocodile. Now, all they had to do was hide nearby and quietly wait for their prey to take the bait. However, they waited late into the night, without any sign of the crocodile. Just when everyone thought the night would be a failure, they suddenly saw movement on the water from the monitor. The crocodile had appeared, but for some reason, it didn't fall for the trap and quickly disappeared from the surface. Seeing this, Nick decisively pulled the trigger, firing a tracking dart that hit the crocodile perfectly. Startled, the crocodile fled. It seemed that was all they could do for the night. The next day, the group came to check the situation and found the goat in the cage was gone because it had rained heavily last night. The camera didn't capture any footage. Fortunately, the tracker showed the crocodile was still nearby. So after resetting the trap, everyone returned to camp. Only the cameraman, Hey, stayed out with his camera, alone, filming some footage of wild animals. After all, it wasn't every day he got to be in Africa, but as he was filming, he suddenly heard a car approaching. He crept over to take a look and saw several heavily armed thugs. They had captured the shaman and his family. Then, they brutally murdered them all. It's unknown if the shaman foresaw his own end. The bloody scene made the cameraman tremble with fear. His camera recorded the entire incident. After returning to camp, he quickly showed the video to everyone. Out of humanitarian concern, they discussed it and decided that when they returned, they would expose the video to reveal the thugs' brutal actions. Little did they know, the soldier outside had heard their entire conversation and informed the thugs via walkie-talkie. It turned out, the soldier in charge of their security was also one of the thugs. Meanwhile, a villager, Xiao He, quietly snuck to the riverbank under the cover of night. He climbed directly into the iron cage, faced the water, and shouted loudly, trying to use himself as bait to lure the crocodile. But in his panic, he accidentally triggered the cage's trap and was locked inside. At that moment, the crocodile suddenly appeared on the bank and started attacking the iron cage. Its massive body knocked the cage straight into the river. Screaming, the huge commotion instantly attracted the people at the camp. When they arrived at the scene, Half of Xiaohei's body was already submerged, but one of the men decisively pulled out a grenade and threw it into the water, disregarding Xiaohei's safety. The blast knocked Xiaohei unconscious. Seeing this, Dean quickly jumped into the water to save him. Unexpectedly, the other man, wanting to kill the crocodile, was about to do the same thing again. Luckily, Nick stopped him in time. The crocodile had also disappeared. Dean successfully rescued Xiaohei. It turned out, the reason Xiaohei risked his life to catch the crocodile was to earn merit, so that the cameraman would take him to America to escape this war-torn country. Meanwhile, back at the camp, the remaining soldier dropped his pretense. Seeing Aisha's graceful figure, he began to have indecent thoughts about her. Unexpectedly, at the critical moment, it was the crocodile that saved her. Aisha took the opportunity to crawl out of the tent and ran right into the group returning from the river. Seeing the destroyed camp and one person dead, the group decided to abandon the crocodile capture mission and return home the next day. Hearing they were leaving tomorrow, the other soldier quickly reported this to the thugs. He then dropped his cover completely, shooting and injuring one of the men. It wasn't until the soldier grabbed the laptop containing the video that everyone realized he was also one of the thugs. However, by the time they figured it out, it was too late. The soldier herded them to the riverbank, preparing to kill them and destroy the evidence. But before he could act, a gunshot rang out. The soldier fell to the ground. It was Xiaohei who had shot and killed him. Now, Xiaohei had no turning back. The cameraman promised he would definitely take him to America. Afterward, the group hid in a stilt house on the water. They quickly tended to the old man's wound, and Aisha called her superiors for backup. But suddenly, the tracker signal grew stronger. This meant the crocodile was nearby. Since they couldn't see it, they could only keep firing their guns, trying to scare it away. But the next second, in the nick of time, they grabbed onto Nick. But the crocodile started attacking the stilt house. It bit through a supporting pillar with one bite. The house instantly tilted, and everyone fell into the water. Luckily, the crocodile didn't attack. They quickly climbed out of the water. The injured old man, worried he would slow them down, decided to take the crocodile down with him. But just as he pulled out a grenade and bit the pin, the crocodile suddenly attacked. Seeing no movement on the water for a while, they thought the old man had taken care of the crocodile. But then, the crocodile suddenly leaped from the water with the old man's body and devoured him in front of them. The old man's death bought them a chance to survive. After a full meal, the crocodile settled down. And so, the group managed to survive until dawn. The rescue helicopter finally arrived. Just as they were running excitedly toward the helicopter, a missile suddenly flew in, nearly hitting the chopper. For safety, the pilot had no choice but to abort the rescue. Not giving up, Nick ran over to try and stop them. But the next second, he was hit and sent flying by the thug's car. Two thugs got out of the car, and without a word, emptied their clips into the dying Nick. Seeing this horrifying scene, the others hiding in the grass didn't dare to move a muscle. But one of the thugs seemed to sense their presence and began shooting wildly into the grass. Bullets whizzed past them, knowing they would be discovered sooner or later. The group had no choice but to get up and run. Seeing them, a thug pulled out his submachine gun. Luckily, no one was hit. They quickly got up and kept running. The thugs got back in the car and took aim at them again. To distract the thugs, Dean suggested they split up. The four of them immediately ran in different directions. Their unlucky friend drew all the fire. A bullet hit his shoulder, and he fell into a pool of water ahead. In his haste, the driver slammed on the brakes, and the car's front end dug into the dirt. The massive inertia sent the thug in the passenger seat flying out. He hit a tree and died instantly. The driver flew into a rage. He grabbed a machete and jumped into the water, intending to hack their friend to pieces. At the critical moment, Dean arrived just in time with a sniper rifle. The thug didn't dare make a move. Their friend used the chance to escape. But when Dean pulled the trigger, he found the gun wasn't loaded. Seeing this, the thug lunged forward, swinging his machete. Dean blocked it with the body of the rifle. The two of them began to fight in the water, but the thug clearly had the upper hand. Soon, Dean was caught in his grasp, about to be executed on the spot. At the last second, Aisha arrived on the scene. She quickly picked up the dropped rifle and loaded it. With a single shot, she blew the thug's head off. The crisis was finally over. But on the other side, their friend was out of luck. Although he escaped the thug's attack, he ran into the even more ferocious crocodile. He ran for his life, but he couldn't escape his fate. When the others found him, all they saw was his camera on the ground. Their friend was gravely injured and barely breathing. Just as they were wondering what to do, a Land Rover slowly pulled up. The man who got out was the government official. The two naively thought they were finally saved and quickly helped their friend into the car. It wasn't until Dean noticed a pendant inside the vehicle that he realized something was wrong. Its owner was the shaman who had been murdered by the thugs. The man no longer bothered to pretend. His subordinate immediately aimed his gun at Dean, threatening him to hand over the computer with the murder video. It turned out that while he appeared to be a government official, he was actually the leader of these thugs. At first, Dean tried to act tough, but the boss threatened Aisha's life. Helpless, Dean had no choice but to lie, saying the tracker in his hand could find the computer. He then led them in the direction of the crocodile. As they got closer to their destination, the boss, to prevent any tricks, sent his henchman with Dean to get the computer, while he stayed behind to watch Aisha. But after just a few steps, they found their friend's body in the grass. While the henchman wasn't looking, Dean quietly took the knife from the body. He then quickly turned and killed the henchman with a single slash. At the same time, Aisha fought back. She grabbed a can of unknown liquid used to lure crocodiles and threw it in the boss's face. She then took the chance to run towards Dean. The boss fired several shots after her, but he missed. The two successfully met up in a swamp. But just as they were about to leave, their pursuer caught up. He shot Dean in the shoulder. Then another shot hit his thigh. The boss kept pulling the trigger, but he was out of bullets. However, the gunshots attracted the crocodile. The three of them stood frozen, not daring to move. Dean and Aisha were closer to the crocodile, but it seemed more interested in the boss. It was because of the unknown liquid Aisha had thrown. Sensing danger, the boss tried to flee, but he was quickly snatched up and eaten by the crocodile. The two took the chance to escape the swamp, planning to get away in the boss's Land Rover. But the next second, disaster struck. The car skidded and got stuck in the mud. Just as Dean slammed on the gas, trying to get free, the crocodile caught up. It smashed through the rear windshield, and its entire head burst into the car. At the critical moment, Dean decisively grabbed the machete and frantically hacked at the crocodile. In pain, the crocodile retreated. Dean immediately slammed on the gas and powered out of the mud. You okay? Seeing the crocodile wasn't following, the two finally breathed a sigh of relief. At the end of the movie, they boarded a plane to return home, and their friend, as he had wished, finally escaped the war-torn country. Perhaps more terrifying than the beasts that devour you whole are the humans who kill without blinking an eye.